So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen again and then make sure that obviously you guys can see this. So just give me a quick yes if you can see the screen. Just one yes will be great. Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. Just at least now I know that you can see this. So let's go ahead and let's talk about, first of all, why LinkedIn. So why is LinkedIn a powerful platform, and why is a platform that you should be using if you're not using properly at all? I know a couple of you say yes, it's my favorite, which is great. I love it when I hear that. That's like music to my ears. So let's look at why LinkedIn first of all, and especially given the last year that we've had, some of the real key elements I'm going to be talking about as to LinkedIn as a marketing tool. So first of all, LinkedIn is the ideal platform to attract opportunities. Okay, it's the ideal ideal platform to attract opportunities, and there is a key reason for that, because if you think about it, LinkedIn is like walking into a networking room with your ideal clients there, but the difference is between LinkedIn and other social media platforms is that they are serious about doing business, which means that when you walk into the platform, if you like, so think of it as your virtual networking room, if your profile is optimized in the right way, etc., and you're doing all the right things around visibility, ultimately what happens is that you will be seen as that expert, and you will be able to have conversations that are about business. Whereas when you're on other platforms, it's social media platforms, and that's where I differentiate the two. I always call LinkedIn a social networking platform as opposed to a social media platform, but ultimately it's all about social networking. Users on LinkedIn are serious about doing business, and if done in the right way, which you've got to be careful about, we don't want people spamming. What you want to do is you're able to have conversations that actually lead to business. It's also currently, okay, and I'm going to say the word currently again, it's also the best platform to get you the most organic reach. This by far, this is the main platform that gets you organic reach better than any other platform at the moment. Okay, and there's a number of reasons for that. Is because it's kind of, it's a platform that's been underutilized, underused, and untapped, really. Those are the three things. It's all of those three things put together, which means that because people have only felt that it's used for B2B or corporates or for recruiting, so many businesses have stayed away from it, and as a result haven't actually got out there and actually got visibility. So LinkedIn is always encouraging people to get on the platform because they want to show your content, they want to show your posts, etc. So it still currently has the most organic reach, but this won't be for long, because as we all know, over the last year, the digital landscape, I mean, it was growing anyway, and it was growing at a fast pace anyway, but it's been accelerated as a result of the pandemic. So it is still currently the best platform to get you the most organic reach, which means you don't have to pay for ads. It's also right now the only platform that is focused on promoting user content for free. So if you think about something like Facebook, you have to basically, if you're posting from your business page, for example, or you're posting, business content, pretty much the reach is not as high as if you basically paid for Facebook ads. And I use Facebook ads as well, so it's not like I don't use it, but I know that my organic posts are not going to get reach. Whereas here they are very, very focused on promoting user content for free. Which means actually that because they're focused in that area, ultimately you become one of the 1% of LinkedIn users considered an expert in your niche, okay? Because your content will actually get seen. So ultimately what happens is, so that if you think about it, there are 722 plus million plus people on LinkedIn. However, only 1% of that total amount actually create content. And because there's only 1%, your content, your profile, your visibility, your posts are more likely to get seen because there's not enough. The competition is less. So we've got a great question here. What is organic reach? So organic reach is basically where you can get more reach in front of your ideal target market, so you get seen more, if you like, and your posts and your content gets more reach without having to pay money for it. Yes, so I hopefully Derek and Graham, I've answered that question. So organic is basically it's happening in of itself because of the fact that you're on there. You're not having to put money behind it. It's free ultimately. Okay. So that's what organic means. Okay. Now, here's one of the things that a lot of people do not realize, and this is why LinkedIn is really, really good because of Google. Now, what Google do is they actually rank websites deemed that they consider authority domains, which means that they consider them as professional websites, ones that they're happy to, promote, and so they mark them from 0 to 100%. LinkedIn is measured at 100% an authority domain by Google. So what does that mean? So what that actually means is when you optimize your LinkedIn profile, when you put the right kind of stuff out and you put it out for your ideal target market, what ultimately will happen is that when you use LinkedIn, you will rank high on Google eventually. Okay. And that's the thing about organic, that you've got to do it consistently to get what you want to. Okay. So I've got somebody who's just raised their hand, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'll just carry on. Okay, so what that means is when you ultimately what happens is when you actually go when you optimize all your LinkedIn content and information, ultimately what will happen is eventually when people search for your name or they search for keywords that you've got on your profile, then your particular LinkedIn profile will come up first, not further down. And that means you don't have to pay for any SEO or PPC or anything like that. Okay, so that's the advantage of LinkedIn. Also, because LinkedIn, and this is another reason why LinkedIn is the new Facebook at the moment, as in where Facebook was 5-10 years ago. There are 722 million plus users on LinkedIn worldwide, this is. And remember, they are all individual profiles. So it's not like, oh, because it's it's only good for companies. No, there are individuals on there, which means that if there are individual profiles on there, your target market are there. And I'm going to come and talk a little bit about myths about LinkedIn and why some of those myths are completely unfounded about what you may also be thinking. Oh, well, yeah, there are individual profiles, but they're all, they're not, you can't put personal stuff on LinkedIn, for example. That's definitely a myth, and we're going to break some of those. And here's the truth. Faster and faster and faster, if you continue to ignore LinkedIn as a platform, you're going to get left behind. And I'm one of these people who, and I'm not sure whether you've heard the term, but I'm an early adopter. So I'm like, if something's new and if something's potentially working, I want to try it out, because I don't want to have, it's like, why would you want to go up a hill or roll a really heavy rock up a hill? I'd much rather roll it down the hill. Does that make sense? Like, I'd much rather not have to even roll the rock up. So I'm the kind of person that really looks at what is this tool? How can I use it? How can I utilize it? Some of you may be on Clubhouse at the moment. Clubhouse is a new app launched. It's a new audio app. I was in there as soon as somebody told me about it because I wanted to check it out. And because I was on there, I was already starting to attract the right clients and get the right visibility and convert them. And that's exactly what I was like. when it came to LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn since 2007, and that was when I was in a corporate career. And then, funnily enough, in 2012, when I started my own business, I didn't even think that I like to use it, because I had the same thoughts as all of you. Oh no, it's only for corporates. It's only for recruitment consultants. It's not going to get me business. Those were all the thoughts that I had, even though when I was using it in my corporate career, I was using it to attract clients. So then when somebody pointed this out to me, saying like, well, actually you used to use it in your corporate career to get clients, why don't you give it a go? I started to meddle a little bit with it. And I made a few changes on my profile, because I went from actually being a recruitment consultant to being a trainer. And when I made a few changes to my profile, I suddenly started to get more relevant connections connecting with me. And then I got my first inquiry. And when I had a conversation with them and I said, oh, how did you find me? And they were like, well, to be honest, we found you by accident. We were looking for trainers and you came up as a recruitment consultant. We almost didn't even look at your profile, but then we noticed your work experience and I had trainer in there. That's when I realized that even though I thought my LinkedIn profile looked good and spoke to my clients, actually it didn't. So that's when I went about learning how best to use LinkedIn as a marketing tool. And I went and consumed information, really learned everything that I could, and then started testing things in my own business. And before I knew it, I was using it to do the exact same thing, attract clients to my business. So do you use your own name or a name? I don't know what a nom de plume is, so you're going to have to speak to me in English, please. So Graham, could you re-ask that question? I think small businesses need the support, not so easy to look at digital tools and social media when you're trying to trade and with limited budgets or funds. Well, the truth is, Derek, actually, that with small businesses, you can... All right, an alias. Thank you. I didn't even know that existed. So, Derek, just to answer your question, think small businesses need the support. Yes, they do. And the thing is, as a small business, you can use this. And again, I'm going to take some of the myths out of that. Some made-up name, Graham. No, I use my own name. But I wouldn't, because it's all about growing a personal brand, you see. That's ultimately what you're doing. You shouldn't be using an alias name anywhere, because you should be growing your own personal brand. But let's look a little bit later on as to why that question even came up. So let's look at a little bit about leveraging leads specifically on LinkedIn. Okay, so specifically on LinkedIn. So I'm just gonna. Andrew, I believe I don't know whether last week's one was recorded, so you'll have to. Oh yeah, you've got an answer there, so that's perfect. Yes, I don't know whether last week's was recorded, so you're going to have to ask that. What about conflict of interest with employer? Hardev, I'll come back to that. Danita, what is your advice to somebody that may wish to promote more than one business using LinkedIn? So I'm going to come back to all of these questions because I want to make sure, Trevor's asked, how do you define consistently for posting on LinkedIn weekly, twice? I'll come back to all of those questions, I promise you, and answer every single one of them. Okay, so let's go through because I don't want to miss any content out specifically. And also some of the questions I may actually answer in that. Do you do profile as Danita or Vimit? Right, yeah, so I'm going to talk about, I've got both. One is a profile, which is your personal profile. One is a company profile. But I predominantly post, and it's a company page, not a profile. So I predominantly post and do most of my activity from my personal page, but I do use a company page as well. Yeah, so I do. Okay, let's look at this. So let's look at some LinkedIn stats for 2020. 722 million plus users on LinkedIn. 330 million active users per month, of which 40% do visit the site daily. Average length of time a user spends on LinkedIn is actually 17 minutes, which is quite a long time compared to other platforms. Also, they're still scrollers, and this is what you have to remember, that they are still scrollers. Okay. which means that what you put and what you post out on there has to be things that are relevant for them. And that's a key thing about content anywhere, really, not just on LinkedIn. Interestingly, this is the ratio between women and men. Funnily enough, although I help both men and women, most of my clients are women, funnily enough. So it's really interesting, isn't it? That's the ratio on LinkedIn. But the people who seem to be actually getting a lot of results and moving over to LinkedIn based on the training that I deliver tends to be mainly women. I do get both. 90 million LinkedIn users are senior level influencers, and 63 million are in decision making positions, which is very, very interesting, because that's who you want to get to. Because just think about what life was like 5-10 years ago, or if you're just cold calling on the phone and you're trying to get through to the decision maker. It's a lot harder to do that, isn't it? Because you'll have a gatekeeper, etc., who might stop you, a receptionist, a VA, a PA, whoever it might be. LinkedIn allows you to actually touch base with senior level influencers and decision makers, and that's the key thing there. Now, here's the interesting part. Content creation on LinkedIn increased 60% in 2020. Okay? But it's still at only 1%. That's the worst part. It's still at only 1%. So the numbers increased, but the amount of content creation also increased. And that's the key thing. That's why it's such a good platform, because how on earth are people going to consider you the expert authority? Well, the only way that they're going to consider you an expert authority is if you are sharing your knowledge, know-how, and wisdom. And I want you to write those 3 words down: knowledge, know-how, and wisdom. Because if you don't share your knowledge, know-how, and wisdom, then what's going to happen is people won't see you. The key to success on LinkedIn is visibility. It's not just having a profile. It's not just and it's definitely not writing spammy emails or direct messages on LinkedIn, then telling them how you can help them. I'm going to show you some examples of terrible messages that I've received. Some more stats. 79% of marketers actually, and when it says marketers, these are entrepreneurs. These are small business owners, people who do their own marketing, okay? 79% of marketers see LinkedIn as an effective source of lead generation, and 80% of business leads come from LinkedIn versus 13% on Twitter and 7% on Facebook. And LinkedIn message ads. LinkedIn ads is another whole, minefield. LinkedIn message ads actually deliver a 40% conversion rate. In fact, their open rate of message ads is 52% compared to a normal email open rate, which would be around, I believe it's 18 to 23%. Okay, so some really interesting statistics here. Ad exposure on LinkedIn. Now, this is if you were ever thinking of doing ads, but ad exposure on LinkedIn can increase purchase intent by 33%. And that's a huge amount. By a third, more people will want to actually buy. 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn actually drive business decisions. 96% of content marketers are people using content and actually putting stuff out there. And again, when it says content marketers, we're talking about people like me and you who are doing our own content, getting out there, building our business, whatever it might be. And by the way, even if you are an employee, this works, because when I was in recruitment as an employee, I was still having to write my own content. I was still having to put stuff out there, but I was doing it because I needed clients in my role. Okay, so this is not just for entrepreneurs. And 80% of content marketers actually use LinkedIn ads as well. And here was the biggest leap in LinkedIn history. Microsoft released these figures. There was a 31% increase in usage in 2020. So a massive increase of people realizing that, gosh, you know what, I've got to get on LinkedIn. So if you weren't one of them, then definitely you want to be making sure that 2021 doesn't go past before you start using the platform. Okay, so let's look at some and again, you can take a picture of this slide specifically just so that these are just some really good things for you to note in terms of information that you need for LinkedIn. So first of all, you can have 30,000 maximum connections. These are people who are your first tier connections, so people who actually connect with you. However, you can have unlimited followers. I mean, I know people who've got, you know, hundreds and thousands of followers. So 30,000 maximum connections, more followers. And LinkedIn are changing a few things as to, you know, how you can get more followers, because the followers, even if they're not connected to you, they will be able to still see your content and see you as the expert. LinkedIn profiles with a headshot, so depending on what your headshot is like, are you get 14 times more views if you have a headshot. And adding a photo to your profile is also you're 36 times more likely to receive a message. LinkedIn users with 5 or more skills on their profile, you get 17 times more views, but also by putting the skills on there, you get more optimization. There are over 2 million groups on LinkedIn, and the maximum invitations per day that you can send out is 250. However, if you are on a free account, they've now started to clamp down on this. So I wouldn't definitely do that 250 a day. Otherwise, you could be in LinkedIn jail, which means that you can't send any more invitations until the following month. The headline, which is a strap line that goes underneath your name, you have 220 characters to write that headline. But here's a hack: if you use your mobile phone, you get 240 characters. And your summary, which is your about section, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on, 2,600 characters there. Statistics suggest that LinkedIn will be the most effective platform for product launches. If you're launching a product, it's one of the best platforms for that. And research shows that LinkedIn is the most effective platform for lead generation. LinkedIn also improves face-to-face relationships. Why? Because it's a social networking platform. It's one where it's all about creating meaningful conversations and meaningful connections. Okay, now that doesn't mean you shouldn't connect with people that you already know, that you don't know. You can still do that, just like you would if you were speaking on stage, or, you know, speaking like I am here. I would still want to connect with you and then get to know you, or you get to know me, both ways. LinkedIn gives your brand, and I'm talking about your personal brand here, not just your business brand, increased search visibility, and paid and sponsored ads are more effective on LinkedIn versus Facebook. They are more expensive, paid ads on LinkedIn, but they're more effective because their leads are more qualified. Okay. So there are 5 fundamental uses of LinkedIn. So before we go on to this slide, I'm just going to check the chat box and see if there's any specific comments. Derek Giddens says, question, what is the definition of wisdom? It's just what you know, your own wisdom, as in whatever your area of expertise is, what is your wisdom around that? What is the knowledge that you can share? It's just another way to say that. So yeah, Christopher, I'm going to talk a little, so, you know, that whole thing around the profile, you know, as Danita or via me, that's really cool in terms of, you know, the way I look at it, it's a ratio. 80 to 90% of my posts come from my personal profile. The other 10 to 20% comes from my business profile. I will always build a company page, because on my profile I can pull in the information and the logo from my company page into my work experience. I hope I'm making sense. So on your profile, you've got your work experience, and then you have this, and then in there you can actually add, you know, who you work for and what your job title is. And what happens is when you have a company page, it pulls that information through, which makes you look more credible. Also, the way to look at this whole personal profile versus company profile, then ultimately what happens is that if you look at Richard Branson, so I'm going to give you an example. Richard Branson has, 180,000 followers on his personal profile as Richard Branson, but Virgin Media has 50,000 followers, which means that anything that's posted out of Virgin Media will only be seen by those 50,000 followers. However, if they share it through his profile, it'll be seen by more people. So that's why there's an 80-20 rule, really, how you use that. Let's see. Richard says, until last year I was a lawyer employed by a big firm, so my LinkedIn profile necessarily compiled with the firm's marketing policy. Now I have retired from legal practice and started my own business. I have reconfigured, but I have yet to exploit LinkedIn properly. Yeah, and I did the same, Richard. I went from being a recruiter, where it was all around, the company's values and things like that, and then I had to just readjust, and that was the thing that actually eventually got me seeing LinkedIn as a much better marketing tool. So yeah, it can be done. Knowing the do's and don'ts. Yeah, we're going to look at that. Catherine says, what are your thoughts on creating a community via a group in LinkedIn? What would you do to create engagement in such a group? So I have a group. Here's what I think, Catherine. Groups on Facebook work better. So I have a group on Facebook as well, which is all about LinkedIn. It's called the LinkedIn Lab. They do work better on Facebook because there's more you can do. So for example, you can stream live directly into a group only on Facebook, but you can't do that on LinkedIn. However, I do have a group because it is good to have a captive audience. There's a lot around groups and also being part of groups as well. And I always show up. Even if it's just once a week, I will show up and I will create content in there. And sometimes I will get no likes, no comments, nothing, because the engagement is very low. LinkedIn are looking to change that, just so you know. But I'll tell you what I do get is I'll get a direct message because somebody's seen something in there. And that's that direct message then leads to business, and that's actually happened to me. Okay, so I hope that helps. So yeah, some great questions there. I'm just going to go to the Q&A part as well. So let's about the recordings, I'm not sure about that. So Hardev, what about conflict of interest with employer? So I've got loads of questions. What I'm going to do is because I want to get through the content, I'm going to come back to the questions in the chat box in the next part as well, and I'm just going to take the Q&A questions. So Hardev, with a conflict of interest with employer, you are going to have to look at, I'm afraid, how is there a conflict of interest because they don't know you're starting your own business? Are you starting a business in the same industry, in which case you're going to have to be a little bit clever around that. There's no one type of answer for that. I need to know, Hardev, a little bit more about how that is a conflict and what you can do about it. Anwar, what is your advice to somebody who may wish to promote more than one business using LinkedIn? How might this work, or is it not feasible to promote more than one business? Yeah, I would never ever have more than one LinkedIn profile. If your business, Anwar, is if the different businesses help with the same thing, then you can do via showcase pages on your LinkedIn company page. They're called affiliate / showcase pages. So let me give you an example. I do LinkedIn training. Obviously that's my core business, but I also do public speaking coaching. Some of you may know me from that. So I also do public speaking coaching, but both of those things help my clients get visibility and attract leads. So therefore I can promote both businesses because the outcome is the same. In NLP it's called chunking. So I probably, it would depend on what your businesses are. If the two businesses are completely separate, then what I would do is go, which is a business that you want to grow more? And which is the one where most of your clients hang out? So that's what I would do. Trevor says, how do you define consistently for posting on LinkedIn? Weekly, twice weekly, or daily? So there's a number of things. Do not start posting something that you cannot keep up with. So consistently is whatever works for you. Obviously, if you can do it 5 days a week or 7 days a week, then that is better because You never know when your ideal clients are actually looking at your content. So if you post only on a Wednesday, they may not see it. However, because they may not be on there on a Wednesday. However, if you post every day, then more people will see it. However, the great news is you only have to post once a day. But I would do a minimum of 3 days. That's what I would do. Just don't start anything that you cannot finish, if that makes sense. Can you target dog lovers using LinkedIn as well as promoting your local business? Yes, you can. David, I don't know whether that's a bit of a joke as well, because there's a whole dog thing that came up recently. Internet Biz School sends a link to the recording soon. Thank you, Vicky, for answering that question. Perfect. So I'm just going to answer that. Okay, perfect. Right, so now what we'll do is we'll go on to the 5 fundamental uses of LinkedIn, so that you guys can just want to make sure that I've got right. Perfect. We've got all of those done. Perfect. Awesome. Right, so let's now yes, you can include a link, Richard, to a Facebook group on LinkedIn. There's ways to do that. So yeah, you can include a link to a Facebook group on LinkedIn, but you have to be careful how you do it. Okay. Jerry's just asked, is LinkedIn Lab a registered company? No, it's not. I am a registered company. My company is the Mind Vehicle Limited, and I have bought the LinkedIn Lab as a domain. So you don't have to have a registered, you have to have a registered company, or you have to be self-employed to be able to obviously do business, but my brand doesn't have to be registered. So the LinkedIn Lab is part of my brand, but it all comes under my registered company. So I hope that helps. There we go. Right, so let's get on to more content. So marketing. So there are 5 fundamental uses of LinkedIn. First of all, marketing, because you're engaging the right individual with the right message. Does that make sense? So it's a real key use of LinkedIn, and not enough people use it as, you know, in order to actually market themselves. They use it too much for, you know, or they don't use it enough because of the myths that are out there. Obviously, recruitment. Many people use the platform for recruitment. Selling, engaging the world's decision makers. Okay, absolutely fundamental use of LinkedIn. I'm just my sugar's a bit less. I'm just having a bit of sugar. Okay, so then also building and managing networks and relationships, because LinkedIn is a place where it's all about creating key relationships. So creating meaningful relationships where you can take your customer from where they are in their journey, as in the pain, the struggle, the problem, the challenge that your service or product can solve, and taking them to that place. So it's taking them from being a follower to a connection to then a prospect to then a long-term client. And it's about managing and then being a long-term client. And then obviously discover and follow companies and influencers, because you can get in front of great influencers, and there's some really good strategies that you can use to actually you know, follow influencers so that more people see you. It's all about visibility, like I said. Okay, so there are 6 essential strategies. Make sure you write lots of notes down on this. There are 6 essential strategies when it comes to a good LinkedIn profile. So when it comes to using LinkedIn as a marketing tool. So I'm going to talk to you about the 6 strategies here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a whole load of, you know, just little pieces from each of the strategies. But I'll give you a few examples. So let's look at the 6 strategies that are absolutely essential that I take my clients through. So first of all is having a persuasive profile. And in order to have a persuasive profile, the key strategy that you've got to do is you've got to ensure that it actually targets your avatar. And for those of you who don't know what an avatar is, it's ultimately your ideal target market. So your profile, whether you are an employee or whether you are an entrepreneur or business owner, it has to target and speak to and connect with the right target market, which means that you don't just need to know who it is you're targeting, but you also need to know how they think. Because when you start to know all of those things, when you the actual language that you use on your profile, the terms, the keywords, the way that you write your profile will actually appeal to them. So when they come across your profile, they'll go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like this person, I feel like this person is talking to me. So the first strategy is making sure that you build a profile that actually isn't just about you and isn't just about I, me. It's actually about the individual that you are targeting, so that when they look at it, they go, oh my God, you know what? I suddenly feel like this profile talks to me. Let me at least follow them or connect with them or find out a little bit more about them. And that's a key thing. The biggest mistake that most people make on LinkedIn is literally not having a profile that attracts the ideal target market. That's one of the biggest mistakes. Now, when you understand who your avatar is and when you understand how they think, not only can you then create a profile that actually has an impact and attracts relevant connections, not just any connection, that then starts to already make a massive difference to the type of people that are coming towards you. And it means that any content you now provide or any posts you put out is actually being seen. It's actually being seen by the right people, not just anyone. So that's strategy 1. Strategy 2 is all about how to attract people. Okay, how to attract people to your target market. How to attract people to your profile who are coming from your target market. And we do that through having a consistent content cycle. So the second strategy is how you use the different amazing and explosive features that actually there are on LinkedIn. Because remember, only 1% of people are actually using this properly. So you can actually be in that 1% and see, and your content can be seen by more of the right people more of the time. And that means that you will now start to attract these people to your profile and you can build your network. And now your network is being built by the right people, not just anyone. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make when we first set out putting content out there. The mistake that we make is we try to attract everyone and then we get no one. Does that make sense? So the key thing here is okay, now that I know who my avatar is, only now can I start to attract the right people, both through having a persuasive profile, but also having a consistent content cycle. Then once you've got your avatar and you're starting to attract more people, it's all about how do I build an affinity. So what do I mean by an affinity? Affinity is where it's all about you building a rapport. Building relationships, building the right type of people, building the right type of brand. This is all about the brand builder blueprint. The brand builder blueprint is all about integrating yourself into your network and then interacting with them in the right way, not just sending spammy messages that turn people off, but interacting, integrating, and really immersing yourself into your ideal target market and being that person that actually wants to build a relationship with them. So interact, integrate, and really immerse yourself. Those are kind of the 3 things here. How do you do those 3 things so that you can start to build a brand that is aligned with your personal brand, that really shows you as the expert, that shows you are the key person? Now, when you start to do these three things right, so, you know, you've got the right avatar and it's aimed at the right avatar, which means that you've got a profile that connects. You're starting to attract people because you're seen as a thought leader. You're seen as a person who is the expert in your niche. You can then start to build an affinity because you're now, people are moving towards you and you're now starting to build rapport with them. Okay, so those are three things. Then you can start to advertise yourself in the right way. And I don't just mean paid ads here. You've got to know how you can market yourself. There is no reason why you cannot put stuff out there on LinkedIn that actually shows that you are a business, or you have a product, or you have a service, even if you are an employee. And these were some of the things that I was doing, not automatically when I was a recruiter, but for some reason I didn't think to do it as a business owner. So that's why understanding how you can take people off of LinkedIn and into your own sales funnel is really important. And that's what this particular strategy teaches. It teaches you all about, you know, creating lead magnets, creating ways that you can take them off of LinkedIn and into your own ecosystem, if you like, because you've got to take them into your own ecosystem. That then takes us on how you can then take action. So what is the right way to really take action? As in, ask for the sale. Because too many people do not ask for the sale, or they ask for the sale way too early without even finding out or qualifying the client. And then finally, the sixth strategy is how you can remain an authority on LinkedIn, that thought leader. So, you know, how you can use the company page in the right way, how you can use hashtags the right way, getting recommendations and endorsements so that you are seen as the individual. What else? How to use other features like LinkedIn events, which allows you to stream webinars, LinkedIn lives, all of that kind of stuff. So how can you use all of these different things, including the analytics, how you can measure all of those things. And as you can see, this is all in a circle. And when it's in a circle, it just means that you are now somebody who is consistently using LinkedIn in the right way and consistently going through these strategies, much more in a how can you say, in a way that is just more consistent, basically. And you are now doing it as part of a cycle. It's part of your ecosystem. Okay, so that's what that is. So let's look at any questions that have come through. I hope you're enjoying some of the content here and you're learning. Richard says it all sounds like a hell of a lot of work. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's because you don't know how to do it the right way. You can do this with 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes in your day. And believe me, Richard, here's the interesting thing. It doesn't sound like a hell of a lot of work when you start making six figures, because it becomes a strategy. Yeah? Look, the truth is that you have to ensure, look, if you think that you can make 6 and 7 figures and become a millionaire without some work behind it, you can't. However, here's the key thing. The key thing is do it in the right way and have a strategy, and it will start working for you. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, it sounds like hard work, and that's why people don't do it. But guess what? When it starts to reward you, then you start to do the right thing. Okay? So yeah, Richard, I know what you mean. It sounds like a hell of a lot of work, but the truth is that there is no get rich quick scheme, you know. And if that's what you're looking for, then absolutely this isn't the right strategy for you. But I don't believe in get rich quick schemes. What I believe in is, you know, doing the right thing to get the reward, not having to do so much and not get anything back. And that's, I think that's a really clear thing. Trevor says that's a very clever model, and thank you. Oh, no worries. Thank you for that. I like the feedback. Great, very good content so far. Just amazing. Thank you so much. Brilliant. It is worth doing the work to get the results that you want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ROI is worth it. Perfect. Yeah, it's all about knowledge and return on that investment. Six figures need your support to get it how you connect with you after. Yeah, don't worry, I'll be talking about how you can connect with me afterwards. Awesome. Right, let's look at some of these things that you say to yourselves in terms of the myths or why you think that LinkedIn doesn't work for you. Okay, so let's look at some of those. So one of the myths is it's only for corporates. How many times do you hear that? It's only for corporates. It's only for business to business. How many times do you hear that? I hear it all the time. Here's the thing. It's not B2B, i.e. business to business. It's not even B2C, business to consumer. Marketing is about H to H. Write that down. H to H, which is human to human. There are 722 million plus profiles on LinkedIn. Each of them is a human being. So when you think about your business, think about you as an entrepreneur. You know, you will buy from people because you have bought into them, not just because you like their product. In fact, a lot of the time, it doesn't matter. Even if you have the best product, you won't buy that product from that individual because you don't like their ethics, values, and their integrity. If you don't resonate with them, you will not buy. So it's not only for corporates, it's for anyone who has a problem, a solution that solves a problem. So get out of your head that it's only for corporates, because that's absolutely not true. And the truth is like I talked about earlier on, because it is, sorry, I've just got a few things coming up, because it is to human, because it's H to H, it's human to human. When you have a product or a service that solves a problem for your ideal target market, well, guess what? They're going to want to hear from you. Okay, so it's definitely not only for corporates. Another myth. Oh gosh, I have to post every day. Now, hopefully this will help you a little bit, Richard, as well. Is you don't. If you can post 3 times once a day, that is enough. You can start off by just posting 3 times. That's the optimum. And if you do it whereby you post at a certain time every day because you know that that's the time that you've got, then just do it. Make sure you show up. Consistency in business is key, okay? It doesn't matter what business you have, whether you've got a product-based business or a service-based business. Consistency is a key to success in anything that you do. Do it consistently and do it well, then you'll start to get the rewards. If you do anything ad hoc, then it's just not going to work. If you just show up when you want and then don't show up consistently, you're in the wrong game. Consistency is key. And that's because, look, ultimately what happens is that, you know, think about the service that you want to receive when you invest in something. If you don't get consistent service, then you're going to give up and you're going to go to somewhere else. Well, that's exactly where your clients are. They want consistency in the way that you deliver as well. But you don't have to post every day. Do what is consistently right for you and then slowly build on it. So when I first started out, I knew that I could only do it a couple of times or 3 times. So I just did 1 post, and there's loads of different types of posts now. But you know, there are systems out there that can help you. There is stuff that can help you do it in a way that doesn't take up a lot of your time. But I'm telling you now, if you post consistently 3 times a week and that brings you in business, would you want to stop doing it? Absolutely you wouldn't. So consistency is all about you showing up for your ideal target market, for your clients, for your prospects, because consistency is key. Okay, and that's really what it boils down to. So no, you don't have to post every day. Yay! And you can post once a day. Once a day. You don't have to do like 2 or 3 posts a day either. So that's the key there. Another myth: my clients are not on LinkedIn. Here's the interesting thought. Do you remember what I told you earlier about Google and how it marks websites like LinkedIn at 100%? When you start to optimize your LinkedIn profile, etc., even for people who are searching for you off of LinkedIn, well, if they find you on LinkedIn, then there's a better way for them to get in touch with you. So yeah, your clients may not be on LinkedIn. However, when you are present and visible on LinkedIn and you're optimized on LinkedIn, then Google will actually push your profile up more than even your website, and that's the key thing. I post a lot from my company page, right? So this was something that obviously came up earlier on, and somebody said, oh, do I do Via Me or do I do Danita? Well, what I would do is have a ratio of 80-20. 80% from your personal page and 20% from the rest. Okay? And that's because your personal brand is what will get you followers on your business brand. Look, I don't care what people tell you about this. I'm telling you now that and we get this question a lot. Should I be building my personal brand or should I be building my business brand? Your personal brand is what will raise your business brand, because people do business with other people. They do not do business with a brand. With a business. They do it because of the person. It's a bit like when employees say that somebody has left a company. Actually, it's not true. People leave managers, they don't leave businesses. If you have a bad manager, you will leave that company because of that manager. You won't leave the company because of the company necessarily. Okay? Unless the company is just very disintegral. But it means that when the company has no integrity, they recruit people who have no integrity. So therefore, if you work for a company and that company manager or boss has no integrity, you will leave. Okay? And that's a key thing about that. LinkedIn is only for corporates or business. We've actually dealt with that already. I've got that twice. And it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for you is the thing that people say when they don't know the right strategies to do it. I'm telling you now, it works for everyone. I know that's a really bold statement, but I'm putting it out there. It works for everybody. Okay? So let's look at some of the mistakes that a lot of people make as we go into the last half hour. So let me just go into the chat box very quickly, make sure that there's no spade work. So it's critical, but it gets easier, I imagine. Yeah, Jancy, yeah, exactly. So the work at the outset is critical, but it does get easier. Once it almost becomes a habit, and that's how you got to make it. So yeah. Richard Lee says heart to heart. Yeah, that's a great one as well. Human to human. People by people. Exactly, Derek. Michelle says it won't work if you don't put in the work. Put some skin in the game and you will get the result. Yeah, love that. Put some skin in it. Absolutely. Awesome. Let's now look at some of the mistakes. Keep those questions coming in. Let me just see if there's any others. What's the ideal length of content to optimize your visibility? Jancy says, are weekly posts enough? Yeah, weekly posts are definitely enough. However, the ideal length depends on what you are putting out. You see, that one of the myths is that the only type of content that you should put out is written content on LinkedIn. That is actually not the truth. The truth is that video content does really well on there as well. Image posts, brief content. LinkedIn has stories, for example. So there's lots of types of content out there. So yeah, absolutely. So I've answered that, Jancy. Haida says that's why it's important to find what you are really interested in and passionate about. Yeah, absolutely. Question: what is the best way to approach and message people? I'm going to be talking about that, Nigel. So you are in for a treat. I'm going to be talking about that next. Okay, let's now look at some of the biggest mistakes that people make on LinkedIn. Not sure, Eva, not sure what that is. I don't have any thing around that. Question: Adil, what if your content is no good and people dislike it, and instead of getting customers you alienate them? Now that's a really interesting thing, isn't it, Adil? I'm afraid that when you start to put content out there that people don't like, but that is aligned to you and what you really believe in, then yes, you will alienate people. But guess what? That's a good thing. I'd like you to write this down, Adil, and also anybody else who's listening to this. Okay? Marketing is a disqualification process. So when it comes to content, you absolutely must disqualify. Which means that there are some people, doesn't matter how amazing you are and how right you are in your own beliefs and thoughts and mission, they just will not agree. And that's okay, because they're not your customers. You're going to be then starting to attract the people who go, oh my gosh, yes, that's the person I want to work with. And there are some people who you will turn around, Adil, because they will go and do the things that they're not supposed to and make the mistakes, and then they'll come back to you and they'll go, gosh, I wish I'd listened to you earlier. I get that all the time. People, look, I am a LinkedIn trainer. There are probably another 100 LinkedIn trainers out there. Some people will do things the way that I believe, the way it should be done, and some people won't. There are some people out there who'll tell you, no, don't direct message people. No, don't send connection messages when you're connecting with people. There are people who will tell you that. I don't believe that is the right way to do it. But that doesn't mean that other person is wrong. They just have a different strategy. And if you want that person, then you go there. But I know that the clients that I've helped with the strategies that I've taught, and the reason I've taught them is because I've trialed and tested them myself, that they have gotten the results. But it's okay, because I only want to work with people who are like me and who like me. Does that make sense? I only want to work with people who are like me, i.e. not like me as in exactly the same as me, but have the same values and ethics as me, and people who like me, because they know that they resonate with me and they connect with me. So marketing is a disqualification process. Question from Pauline. I stopped posting because I receive people want to sell me Bitcoin, or some private message me connect with the wrong reason. How can I filter those people? By just actually putting the right type of content out there. At the end of the day, the reason why you're getting those type of things is because either you're the message that you're putting out there is too vague, or it's not targeted enough. You know, you've got to make sure that you start to put in content out there that is right. Yes, you can sell software on LinkedIn, George. Right, perfect. Let's look at the mistakes now. So I hope I've answered George's question and the other questions from Pauline and Adil as well. All right, let's go. Right, so number one mistake: having a LinkedIn profile that looks like a CV will drive people away. Yes, it will. So you've got to ensure that your profile just doesn't look like a CV. A CV is just an account of everything that you have done, and it's all about you. Okay? It's unimpactful, it's boring, and it doesn't actually sell you or market you. In fact, here's an interesting point. Even when I worked as a recruitment consultant, I made sure that people changed their CVs so that they became marketing documents and not just a historical account of somebody's history. So your profile cannot just look like a CV. Instead, it has got to look like a landing page. So I'm going to do a very, very quick profile overview for the first person in. So I'm going to ask a question. Okay, let's see who's been listening. The first person to give me the correct answer in the chat box to the next question, I'm going to help you. I'm going to bring your profile up, share the screen, bring your profile up, and we're going to do a quick overview of your profile so that, especially if your profile looks like a CV. Okay, so my question is going to be, okay, what percentage of people on LinkedIn post content? Answer in the chat box right now. Let's see the first person to answer. I'm going to do a profile. All right, Alan Edwards. Yes, 1. Well done. You have been listening. Yes. So 1% of people actually create content. Perfect. Post content. So Alan Edwards, I'm going to now so well done, Alan Edwards. I'm going to now bring up your profile. So let me just stop sharing. So I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to share my let me just bring up my internet and LinkedIn specifically. So LinkedIn, let me just bring up my LinkedIn profile. And Alan Edwards, I'm going to bring up your profile. So first of all, Alan, can you just very quickly tell me, Alan, is it Alan Edwards on LinkedIn? Is that what your profile is? And is there, let me just copy that actually, because you just told me that. So it's Alan J. Edwards, is that right? So Alan J. Edwards. And are you a utilities consultant specializing in property? Is that you? Catherine says, I just love you, Danita. Thanks. That's not you. Okay. So we need to find you on LinkedIn. So can you tell me what job title or that you have on LinkedIn? Or if you can you just put the link on here, Alan? Can you get your link? Can you just copy and paste your LinkedIn profile link on here so I can go into it straight away, please? So if you could do that for me, Alan, that would be great. This is being recorded, Leafa, so I believe there will be a recording of this. Alan says, I never win anything. Right, let's see what... right, perfect. Yeah, let's do that. That also works better. So we hopefully should get you in now. Perfect. All right, I'm going to share my screen now. I've just sent you a little connect as well. Right, okay, so yeah, that's an interesting thing. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm just gonna share my screen, and then we should be able to see Alan's profile here. Okay, I can't connect to them through here. I have to connect in them through another way. All right, perfect. So can, I just want to make sure that we can see your screen. So Alan, can everybody see Alan Edwards' profile at the moment? Let's just have a quick, so can you just put yes, yes, perfect, awesome, thank you very much. Right, so let me just first of all give you a quick overview. Okay, so first of all, this in terms of looking like a CV, so let's have a look. Right, okay, so let me give you a quick bit of feedback. You definitely need to grow your connections, Alan, that's for sure. Very like your profile picture needs work. It's very dark, if you like, in terms of its the way that it looks. It's very dark. Your face is way too far away from the circle, so you need to zoom in on your face, Alan. So that's the other thing. Okay, so your profile image isn't bad. The keys to creating wealth through property development, that's fine. I help property investors to optimize their returns by managing property developments from inception to completion. Yeah, I mean, this is all about you. I help property investors to optimize their returns. It needs a little bit more around your, the result that they get. So this optimize their returns, like, it's a bit vague. We need a little bit more than that, but it's still not a bad strap line, so that's good. Now, this is where it starts to look like a CV. I work with, I do this, I manage, I am a chartered construction manager, I've been actively involved. So this is where you need to make this, your about section needs to look like a landing page. So if you think like a sales page, a sales landing page, it needs to have that kind of element of strategy on your about page. Okay, so very much around the pain of your customers, touching upon their struggles and challenges, etc. So that's a bit that you would need to change drastically, Alan, so that it's not just about you, but it actually points out the struggles and challenges that your customers are going through. Here you've talked about, in order to identify the best sites for development. So you talked a little bit about what you do, but it needs to be about the results that they get, which you've done a little bit here, optimizations on their property investments. Again, you've just pretty much done very similar to this part here. Then you've got, so you've got your managing, so here, not enough information here. Some of the information that you've got in your about section needs to go into this part here. And then you haven't got anything, you've got no other experience other than that on here. That's stopping you from getting an all-star profile, which will actually lower the amount of connections that will see you. Having an all-star profile will actually up your mark by around 40% of inquiries that you might get. Okay. Lots of different universities, masters, bachelor of science, postgraduate, loads of things there. Okay. Let's have a look at your skills. So there's a bit of work to be done on your skills, because you've got not very many endorsements from others, and no recommendations, not as far as I can see, because based on how I'm connected with you. Also, when I connect with you, for some reason, the way that you've got your settings is I can only connect with you if I've got your email, and that is stopping you from getting connections from potential clients as well. Okay. And then the other part that you don't have in yours is something called a featured section. Again, it might be because I'm not connected with you, so I can't see it. But again, that's to do with a lot with how your public profile comes across. So I should, it'd be good for me to see a featured section if you don't already have it. Okay, so that is a quick overview of why your profile looks very much like a CV. Yeah, too many eyes must be about them. Yeah, exactly. Michelle. Great feedback. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. But I hope everybody else also. I know it was only the one that I was doing, and that's why I asked the question. But I can't because of the timing, and I want to make. I've got another 10 minutes, and I've got loads of information still to get through. So sorry, Charles. So basically, let me quickly stop sharing that and go back to my slides. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to literally run through the rest of the presentation and then take questions at the end, okay? But I hope that helped, and I hope that helped everybody else as well. That's the whole idea, was to give everybody else a little bit of strategy as well, okay? So number one mistake, having a LinkedIn profile that looks like a CV drives people away. Now, do you remember we talked, so that's why we're now going to help you create a killer headline, okay? So what I'd like you to do is, do you remember earlier on when I asked you all to tell me what you do? So here is what the key element is when it comes to, and in fact I'm just going to stop sharing this part because I'm going to get you to write something in the chat box. So here's what I want you to do is, I'm going to show you my killer headline, and I want you to change yours now to be able to write a really killer headline for you, okay? So yeah, I'm giving you, Eve, calm down, I'm giving you an example of a killer headline, so don't worry, I am going to get there. So what I want you to do, so a lot of people, for example, right at the beginning in your chat, you had, oh, I'm a mindset coach, a trainer, a mentor. I'm something. I'm something. In fact, I think one of the ones that was really good was yours, Jancy. So let me just go to the chat box and see if I can go back to that. So let me find the chat. Here we go. All right, perfect. Let me just go back right to the beginning when you were all putting those down. So let me just find Jancy's, I think, which was right. So yeah, here we go. So yeah, sorry, no, Jancy said, I'm Jancy, I'm a shipping lawyer mediator, and I specialize in a lot of I's. I'm a professional Christian personal. The one that really stood out for me was, let me see if I can find yours. The other one was, I tutor courses for people with mental health. So that was really good. I'm just going to go into the person that really stood out for me was... so Pauline, yours was really good. I help restaurant owners to save money and increase profit by using an online ordering menu system without commission. What a great headline. Okay, so that was a really good example of a headline that works, right? Now I'm going to show you my one in a second. So let me just show you sorry, let me just go back and show you a few including mine. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen again. I'm going to show you a couple of things. So first of all, I'm going to show you mine. Okay, so here you go. As you can see, what I've got is I've got my title. So for keyword specialist, for keyword purposes, I'm a LinkedIn marketing expert. So that helps me to really understand put keyword in there, because if somebody is searching for a LinkedIn specialist, they know that that's what they can find, a LinkedIn expert. Sharing, and now look, I've got sharing key skills with, so this is what I've put who I help: entrepreneurs, business owners, and industry professionals. Okay, so now I've got who I am, but I've got what I do. So I share key skills with entrepreneurs, business owners, and industry. So who I help, I'm actually calling them out. And then I put down what I help them achieve. It's all about them. Helping you use LinkedIn to generate more visibility and leads. Okay, so I would like you to change your headline, or I'd like you to, no, you don't have to change your headline on your LinkedIn right now, but I'd like you to write a sentence that says, here's who I help, here's how I help them, and here's the result that they get. So here's who I help. Okay. Here's how I help them. Use LinkedIn to generate more visibility. Okay. And here's what they get. They get more leads and visibility. So I share key skills with entrepreneurs, business owners, and industry professionals. I help you use LinkedIn to generate more visibility, and therefore you can get visibility and more leads. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write a sentence, and these are the 3 things that they will need to have. Who you help, how you help them. So who you help, call out the people that you help, how you help them, and the results that they get. Okay, who you help, how you help them. So who you help, what you do to help them, and the results that they get. So what you help them achieve. So who you help, how you help them, and what results they get as a result. So let's see what people are now putting down. Helping you discover inner peace by balancing physical, mental, and emotional well-being through mindful movement. Yeah, that was from Tina. Helping you discover inner peace by balancing. Well, who do you help? So who's the you? If you could do that, that would be great. No, do not rewrite your bio in 3rd person. That is not a good idea. I help busy professionals and business owners. Good. Reduce stress and anxiety. Yeah, perfect. In 30 days without pills or medical intervention by changing old habits. Yeah. And what is the result that they get, Ian? So I help busy professionals and business owners reduce stress and anxiety in 30 days and feel what? So I want you to give me the result that they get. So yes, they reduce stress, but what is also the opposite of that? Perfect. If you want to learn how to make things in timber, I can help you to do this. No, Graham, it needs to be a little bit more. I help you too. Okay. Derek, what qualifies you as an expert? This is what I believe. If you know, if you're in a room and you know 1% more than the person that you are wanting to help, that qualifies you as an expert. Alienate says, I have property owners and investors by managing property development on their behalf, so that they can maximize the return on their investment. Yeah, you need to use the word you in there somewhere. Helping people to manage, Paolo says, helping people to manage better their finance, reduce outgoing and increase income, and with my training. Don't say with my training. It's more about what you help them with. Forget the who you help. Forgot the who you help. Yeah, helping adults and managers. Well done. Adults and teenagers, sorry, struggling. Good. Help small companies to pinpoint their target market. Good. And gain more leads and increase profits. Yes, awesome. And then put your, in there. So add that, and then put your, your kind of what people would search for you with. Good. So you've got some really good ones. The last one I'm going to look at is I help Christian entrepreneurs start up, grow, and not grown, put grow and expand. Not by offering, don't say by offering business advice, just say grow and expand your business through targeted advice and helping operate sustainable and profitable businesses. Good. Perfect. Good. I'm loving it. Right, let's now move on to the rest of the content. So let me go back to my slides. Some really good ones there. So well done. That was some good additions there. So I'm going to go back to the slides. Here we go. Mistake number 2. Most people have no idea how to approach clients or employers on LinkedIn, and therefore lose opportunities. So let me give you some examples of what people do. I'm going to go a little bit over, but I hope that helps, but I'm really going to rush through this now because we're running out of time. So when they're on a first date, this is what people do, don't they? It's like being on a first date and saying, oh yes, you'll make a great father. Like you're already getting to that stage on a first date. That's what most people do on LinkedIn. They basically go in and already start to assume that that person needs you. That is a wrong thing to do. Let me give you some examples of a couple of messages that I got in the last week. So I've obviously taken out their names because I don't think that's fair to them. So this person actually started off really well. Okay, they were like, "Oh, I noticed that you were very sorry." So this was the first set. I've mixed it out, but this was the first message that they sent. Hey, Danita, I just read through your about section. Very interesting background and impressive what you have managed to achieve. Would love to connect and learn more about what you do. So I connected with them because I thought that's actually not a bad message, okay? Then the second message was the one at the top here. I noticed that you are very passionate about what you do. Now I know this is not, they're not even looking at actually what I do. Okay, they're sending the same message to everybody. Have you ever thought, first of all, have you ever thought to package your knowledge into online course, promote it and sell it worldwide? Well, if they knew or they had asked me the right questions, or if they had even looked at my profile, they probably would have known that I already sell courses online and I already sell them globally. So that's when I knew that this person had not looked at my profile, because and had not even asked me, is that something that I do? Like, even if she said, I'd love to know that, do you actually sell your knowledge and know-how online? If she had just even asked me that, she would have known that I already do it. And then she would have known to take the conversation in a different way. Another really, really bad person. Oh, I should have actually taken that. But anyway, so let me just go back to that. Danita, I hope you're staying positive and testing negative. Thought that was a great start. I'm from this company. We help companies similar to VME to appointment book and maintain a flow of leads. Can we speak? It's going in there too much. No, ask me if I need that first. Does that make sense? Like, actually find out whether I have the challenge that you solve, and then take that conversation to the next element. Okay? And then this was another one. I connected with this person because they were in mining, so I thought it's a particular industry. Hello mate, thanks for connecting. How are you? All good, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I have an opportunity that I'm sure you don't want to miss on. How do you know? That's my question. How do you know? This opportunity would earn you more money and also give you more time for your primary source of income, less than 30 minutes daily. Mind if I tell you about it? How do they know that I already do not earn more money and have more time? So this guy, individual, has not even asked me anything. He's just gone straight for, I think you'll make a good father. Okay, he's gone straight for, you know what, let's not date, I just want to take you into a hotel room. That's what he's gone for. When you do things like that, you get labeled a social spammer instead of a social seller. And that's what we don't want, okay? Instead, what you want to do is actually start to have a conversation. Sorry, that should be there. Instead, what you want is to have a conversation. So you want to ask questions. You want to pinpoint stuff in their profile, but you want to ask questions. You want to ask questions about them so they get to talk about who they are. You want to create meaningful conversations. Okay. Mistake number 3. Most people rely on things like Facebook for visibility, but guess what? They don't get it. Okay. And here's why. Because Facebook is considered a pay-to-play platform. So what you want to do is post content that is considered king. And here's what you want to do that. So the first one is you want to post content that shows and shares your knowledge and know-how. Don't be afraid to share your perspective and impact. Share your perspective and your thoughts. Share your knowledge, even if it's different from your competitors. Share your knowledge. And this was going back to one of the questions that came up earlier. Don't be afraid to actually have an impact. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo in your industry. Don't be afraid, as long as you aren't doing it just to cause controversy, but you're doing it because you know that there is a better way. So be impactful, be authentic, and be yourself. Yeah, be you. Also, content can be niched. There is so much content that you can actually share because you can niche it in a way that allows people to see you as the expert. And finally, share content that is about growing your personal brand. Do not be afraid to share content that is personal, that is about you, that shares your story, that shares your own individual self and your own authentic self, because that will grow your personal brand. That way, you'll be able to find, target, and attract more of the right connections for your business or your career. Mistake number 4. Most people receive no opportunities from LinkedIn because their profile attracts relevant connections. And that's why you have to get to the point where you are attracting more people that are in your target market. So use LinkedIn to target, attract, and engage with your target market and show them why you're the right solution for them. And you do that by ensuring that you have a well-optimized profile that will attract the right connections, not just any connections. Start to have a profile that is to do with your avatar. And we mentioned this earlier. When you build a LinkedIn profile, that profile with your ideal target in mind, it attracts more of the right people. Okay, and that means you are then seen as a preferred expert of choice rather than just somebody who is vanilla. Okay, you start to actually ensure that you take up space in your target market's head. That's why I've got this picture. Okay, so here's the key to success. The key to using LinkedIn as a marketing tool to attract and convert business opportunities is indeed visibility. All right. So start using LinkedIn to position and promote you. You'll be more visible than your competitors and at a much faster rate. All right. So I wanted to, let me just stop. Sorry, just realized I've gone into. Right, so let's now look at any questions that you might have, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you can then obviously find out a little bit more about how I can help you. So let me just go into the chat and first of all answer any more questions. So let me just see if there's any questions in there. Yeah, Garvin, that was definitely a chatbot response. Yeah. Not even to use your name sounds like a cold call. Yeah, and no, it wasn't necessarily a bot. And you can use automated strategies but there is a way to use them much more. Yeah, I always reply. I reply to them, and I actually give them I give them feedback. I actually give them feedback. Yeah, mate probably wasn't the right way to do that. So I told him, I just gave him feedback. I told him what he should be doing instead. If your potential clients are both companies and individuals, would you do anything differently, or do you choose to target only the most important? So if your potential clients are both companies and individuals, but even in companies, there is an individual within a company that you would need to target. So if your target market are companies, you want to know who the person is within that company to target. That was the best ever presentation about LinkedIn. You're very welcome. Thank you very much, Alan. Have you looked into use LinkedIn Sales Navigator? If so, would you recommend it? What's your verdict? Yes, I do use Sales Navigator. I've not always used it. I've only just started using it. I've also used Premium. I've always been a paid member on LinkedIn. However, that does not mean that you cannot do it on a free account. And here's the truth. You can use just as much, you can get just as much traction on a free account. And if you haven't started using it too much, then start off on a free account. That's absolutely fine. And in fact, I want to show you something about that. Let me just see. What is the best type and length of post you may have? Just answered that. Yeah, Anwar, it all depends on different types of things. Any advice on researching the best type of Anwar, I don't understand that question. Any advice on researching your best type of contact for your audience? I don't understand. Can you ask that question again? I share a link to an article I think may be of interest to my network and add my own comments to it. Is that a good strategy? Sometimes they get likes and a few comments, but more often no engagement. When you share, you should be careful how you share links, because remember, on any platform, not just LinkedIn, if you take people away too much, then ultimately what will happen is your LinkedIn engagement will go down, because remember, each platform doesn't want you taking people away. So think about how you can share content that keeps them on the platform. And there is a strategy. If you want to share links, share them in the comment box. If you don't have a business yet, do you put your day job as your title? Yes. Do you have a template for us to follow for writing our profile? I don't have a template, but sorry, that's a lie. I've lied. I have 3 templates that you can follow. Yes, I do have a template, but I have more than one. I have 3. Do we write about? No, do not write your bio in third person ever. Always write it as your own. If you suspect somebody is only connecting to pitch you, would you recommend avoiding these types of connections? You would ask. I would actually start getting into a conversation with them. That's what I would do. Start going into a conversation with them. But yeah, I don't always connect with everybody who's just there to pitch. I want to connect with people who are meaningful and the right target market. That's the key thing. I want to connect with people who are my target market. I'm a lawyer, but also the owner of a law firm. I'm a lawyer, but also the owner of a law firm. Can my content be varied about the different areas of law? Sometimes about business law and other times about... Yes, absolutely. Emil, you can do both. I assist business... Jancy, I assist businesses to resolve shipping disputes in the boardroom using my smart strategy to stay out of the courtroom. Yeah, that's a lot better. There's still some work to be done on it, but yeah, that's much better. Any advice on researching the best type of content for your audience? Yeah, use a a website. There's a website called answerthepublic.com. When you use answerthepublic.com, what answerthepublic.com is, and you only get 2 free goes a day. But what answerthepublic.com is, if you put in a keyword about your area of expertise, it will show you and tell you all the questions that people are asking in the on Bing and Google at the moment, and that will give you some great content ideas. So answerthepublic.com. Let me see if there's any more. That's that. Let me just see what else is coming up in the chat. No, you don't need a website for using LinkedIn. Yeah, you can pin posts and content to the top of your page. There's something called featured section that works really well. Thanks for really great info and podcast. Sorry, that is a question. One, how do you set up a business page on LinkedIn? That's a really, I can't cover that today. So just too much to cover that at the moment. Garvin says, should I remove connections I now deem unnecessary? Yes, you can do. Or you can just start to attract more of the right people, and eventually those other people will no longer be important. Okay, let me show you the last bit. Let me give you some examples of something very quickly, and we're just going to end this now to the end. So let me do this last part, and then we can finish off. And then any more questions I will end right at the end. So let me do this last part of sharing, and let me show you some people who have actually done it basically on a free account. Okay, so this is Louise. Louise had she is a chiropractor, and on a free account, so not even a paid account, she managed to change her profile from attracting the wrong type of people to attracting high net worth patients. And as a result, she now attracts, she's a chiropractor, she attracts people who are high net worth individuals, and now only does, she still has chiropractors in her practice that work with your everyday patients, so she still attracts those people, but now she herself attracts high net worth patients only. This is Yasmin. She's a diversity and inclusion consultant, and she's now attracted more than 100k worth of business on a free account. So yes, you do not need Sales Navigator or a premium account. You can have, you can attract more than 6 figures on a free account. Claudia Crawley on a free account has attracted more than 16 coaching clients in less than 3 months. Okay, I don't know whether this is not working. I don't think you can see it actually. Let me just try that again. I'll share it again. Because I don't think you could see that. So hopefully you can see this. So yeah, Louise, high net worth patients. Yasmin, more than 6 figures. Claudia Crawley, 16 coaching clients, just from 10 from just one account. Okay. Dimitri is somebody who is a musician and helps musicians. He helps musicians. He's a violinist. He's an instrument maker. He's luthiers. He's actually created more than 2,000 leads on LinkedIn. Also on a free account, by the way. Sue Patel, HR coach, coaches HR experts. She has actually made more than 50k of additional revenue on a free account. And Joe is a leadership coach. She has done more than 24k's worth of business on a free account. So you do not need to have you don't need to actually have a Sales Navigator or or the premium account to actually make money.